Okay, we're joined on the line now by Aoife Cooke after booking her place at the Tokyo Olympics on Sunday. Aoife, how are you?
Good, good. Yeah, still pinching myself, I think. Just got back home to Cork on Monday evening, so just kind of recovering now at the moment.
Can you describe the feeling you had crossing that finishing line, knowing you'd booked your place in the Olympics?
Yeah, it was a bit overwhelming. I think it took a bit of time to sink in, I think. But I kind of knew as I was coming up to the finish line that I was kind of well within the qualifying times. So it was a kind of feeling of relief, I think, in a way, because I just ran such a long way and just overwhelming excitement, really.
And hasn't sunk in yet. I mean, like it's such a massive achievement. Have you had time to process it, or are you still kind of on cloud nine at this point?
Yeah, I think I'm still in the phase of being on Cloud9 at the moment. Like the amount of messages and calls and everything I got, like Sunday evening and yesterday. Like, I think I haven't had time yet to kind of sit down and really just let it sink in. So I'm just in, yeah, definitely Cloud9 phase at the moment.
Were you confident heading over there that you'd get inside the Olympic time?
Um, yeah, like I mean, to a certain extent, I had the confidence that I had the training done for it. So I knew, like, I suppose kind of 90% kind of like that I could do it. But I guess with the marathon, there's always that little bit of uncertainty of what can happen in the last few miles. So there was that too.
And what was the race itself like? I mean, like, what was your strategy heading off?
So I suppose I was kind of I aimed to go out at the pace for the qualifying time, which would have been roughly around 5:40, 5:42 pace in minute per mile. So I kind of went out at that pace and kind of hoping to maybe pick it up after a few miles once it kind of warmed up and kind of got into your stride and stuff like that, which I did. So I was ahead of the pace from, going through halfway. I was ahead of the qualifying pace, which was good. That was kind of my plan because I didn't want to go out there to scrape it because, as I said, there's always that in the last 6 miles that something can maybe go wrong, or there can be a bit of a hiccup. So I didn't want it to be like, that close. I wanted there to be a small bit of a cushion that if things did go a bit wrong, that there was room for error.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, like, so when you're getting to the last couple of miles, I mean, like, what's your thought process then? Is it like, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, or is it still at that point just putting one foot in front of the other and concentrating on what you're doing?
Yeah, so like I think this marathon was a bit different, just because it's been a bit of a different year anyway. So it was a looped course, 7.5 laps. So that was kind of in your head the whole way. So you kind of get through the first three loops, you're feeling okay. And then you kind of get to 4, 5, 6. Like I've seen this so many times already. So it gets tough mentally a bit then. So you're just kind of like, this straight road for a mile, and the corner that you're going to go around, and all of this. So you just kind of have to break it down lap by lap. And I suppose when it came to the last lap, then like I was very tired, fatigued at that stage. The legs were hurting quite a lot, but I guess it was just in your head. It's just one more lap. You've done, six of them already. So just, really knuckle down and just get it done. So it was that at the end. I suppose it was just that thing. It's like, this is yours and it's yours to lose. So just keep going, like.
Yeah, and the reaction you've gotten since has been incredible. Aoife was actually trending on Twitter on Sunday after your win, which shows you the level of interest and I suppose the level of outpouring of support afterwards.
Yeah, it was amazing. I suppose, yeah, like so many, as I said, like so many comments on like Facebook, Twitter, and all of that, and so many like WhatsApp messages, so many calls. It was really overwhelming. I turned my phone off like Sunday evening because I just I just had to shut off for a little while. But like it was fantastic. I suppose like going into the marathon, I was just so focused on my own training, getting ready for it. So like I knew how much it meant to me, but to kind of see how much it actually meant to so many other people as well was incredible.
And to go one ahead of Sonia Sullivan on the all-time list, and for Sonia then to tweet out congratulations must be an incredible feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, like everyone else in Ireland, I've been a huge fan of Sonia up through the years. Like I was growing up watching her in the Sydney Olympics and everything like that. So she's a huge role model. So for that to happen was, I'm pinching myself over that too.
Aoife, what's the average training week like when you're coming up to a marathon, and how is your training plan going to change, or is it going to be the same heading into the Olympics?
So like coming up to the Olympics now, or sorry, coming up to this marathon, I was kind of training between 100 110 miles a week, so it's a lot of miles. Two like big sessions in the week then, so a Sunday I'd probably do 20 to 24 miles, doing a chunk of that at what I kind of would want to do my my marathon pace at, and then a kind of a midweek session which would usually be quite big as well, maybe 16 to 18 miles. The rest then are kind of double days, so kind of doing 8 miles in the morning and 5 to 6 miles in the evening. So it's a lot of commitment, and I suppose coming up, the winter here wasn't that great, so there were days, it was quite pretty tough to get out. So I think at least, we're coming into the summer now, so the training should be a bit more pleasant coming up to the Olympics at least. I suppose the structure will remain fairly similar. I suppose I'm taking this week off now, and I'll kind of get back into it and build up on the mileage again and get ready for it.
As you say, like the winter was miserable as well, but when you have to go from those freezing cold runs, you think to yourself all the time, the Olympics is the end game here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You always have that in your head, and it gets you out the door. And I suppose you're kind of thinking in your head like, this is character building. Any conditions like on Sunday we got really good conditions. So I've done long runs in crazy wind and rain. So I had that in my head too. I've done that, so I can do this on a pretty nice day.
What will the weather conditions be like in Tokyo, or have you looked that far ahead?
It will be warm. So like actually the marathon will be up in Sapporo. So they moved the kind of endurance events up to the north of Japan because it'll be a small bit cooler than Tokyo. But I think it'll still be kind of maybe 23 degrees. So I'll kind of have to look at kind of strategies to kind of cope with the heat in my training in this build up now as well.
Will you be able to get any kind of warm weather training in? I suppose with travel restrictions, you can't really.
Yeah, like I'm kind of looking into that now. And obviously I suppose being an athlete, I might get an exemption. I'm not too sure kind of what the rules are yet, but I'll kind of look at that over the next few weeks. But ideally, yes, I'd like to go away for maybe 4 weeks at least to warm weather training.
It looks like there won't be any foreign spectators allowed to travel to Tokyo for the games. Is that disappointing? You won't have support from home there with you in Japan?
Yeah, of course. My family would have been delighted to go over. So it's a bit disappointing for them as well. Not to be able to do that. But I think, look, in the year that's in it, we have to take what we can get at the moment, and yeah, I'm sure it'll be a great experience anyway. I know like it'll probably be a bit of a different Olympics to what we're usually seeing on the television, but I'll just put it down to experience. And I'm kind of hoping that I'll still have it in me to maybe try and qualify for the next one after this, where everyone can come over and we can have a big celebration afterwards.
We've had Lizzie Lee on this show a couple of times, and she of course ran almost 5 years ago now in the Olympics. Will you be getting on to her for advice and getting her thoughts in the Olympic process?
Oh yeah, I mean, I was actually I was with Breach Connolly as well, who was at the Rio Olympics, and she was kind of filling me in on the experience. But yeah, I'd love to have a chat with Lizzie as well, and just kind of know what her experience was. And she congratulated me there over the weekend as well. So it's a great community that we can share our experience, get tips off of each other. So it's all open. There's no secrets really.
Lizzie said she wouldn't consider herself an Olympian until she crossed the finishing line at the Olympics. Would that be your opinion as well?
Yeah, I think it's great to know that I've qualified for the Olympics, but I wouldn't be saying I'm an Olympian just yet, not until I'm over there. And as Lizzie says, yeah, cross the finish line would be a big deal.
You talk to us about your history of running, Aoife, and how you got into it, and what made you gravitate, I suppose, towards marathon running.
Yeah, so like I ran as a juvenile, kind of when I started when I was 11, and I kind of ran up through my teens, and I went over to America on a sports scholarship, and I kind of focused on cross country over there. got injured and I came home, and I kind of was out of the sport for a few years, maybe 5 or 6 years then, because I had low bone density, so I had to fix that basically. And so I came back in 2015 and I decided to run the Cork Marathon. And I think I chose the Cork Marathon because I'd kind of been doing shorter distances before, like 5K, kind of 10K. And I just wanted something that I wasn't able to compare, I suppose, because I think it would have, I was doing really well over 5K and 10K when I was younger. And obviously coming back, I knew I wasn't going to be that good to begin with. So I just didn't want to have the comparison. So I chose the marathon as this, new event, nothing to compare to, and just see what I could do. So I did that. No, I didn't really know what the training was or anything like that for that marathon, but just it was good to kind of get one under the belt, really. And then I just kind of over the kind of couple of years after that, I kind of realized, look, I can, if I really knuckle down and focus and do the proper training, that I can do something with this. And it all kind of went from there. Not sure I was thinking the Olympics at that point, but the improvement kind of just happened. And I suppose the way I am, I'm kind of like, if I do something and I'm like, can I do it better, especially with running. So it just kind of materialized into that then.
And like, for people who are listening to this now, they might be inspired to get out and start running after listening to you and hearing about you qualify for the Olympics. What would you say to them? How would you advise them supposed to get going?
I suppose the main thing really is to listen to your body. I think a mistake a lot of people make is doing too much too soon, and then they get injured, and then they're turned off it, and then they don't go back again. It's kind of just be patient. I think patience is a huge thing with running in general. You can't go out, going from not doing anything to running 5K straight away. So you have to kind of make a plan and just build it up gradually. And I think just don't I guess look after yourself, really. There's no point going out and killing your body. If your body's tired, rest. I think that's a huge thing as well.
And for you now, next, Aoife, will there be other races before the Olympics, or what's the story?
No, I don't think there will be, for a couple of reasons. I suppose there's not much really on, just because of the pandemic and everything. And I suppose because I qualified kind of late, again, because there was no real races, and even this one was kind of questionable for a long time as well. So just kind of grateful that it actually happened. So I guess there's about 3 months here, give or take, between now and Tokyo. So that'll just be focused on kind of the marathon training again.
Aoife, it's been a pleasure talking to you this morning. Thanks very much for speaking to us on the Big Red Bench, and we'll probably talk to you again before Tokyo.
Great, thank you very much.